We almost didn't meet. I think we're destined for other people.
Moral of the story is that she is my girlfriend because my mom called her my girlfriend.
So after much demand, we are finally putting together our How We Met video.
Okay. We are going to start with how we met when we met. So, oh, this is going to be great. Okay, this is our first video.
So, just in the classic fashion of the modern age, we met online on the dating app Hinge.
Shout out to Hinge.
Shout out to Hinge. You get the sponsors if you want.
But yeah, we met in November or October 2023.
Well, that's when you matched with me. And I didn't, see your, oh, I'm interested until like a month later. Thankfully, you were still there, still ready to party.
I knew you were the one the moment I saw you.
And yeah, and then we matched, and then we were kind of texting.
Yeah.
I remember it was cute one night we were like all of a sudden started speaking in Spanish to each other.
That was crazy. We both were trying to speak in Spanish with each other because I had this idea that we should only talk in Spanish for a bit, where it took me 10 minutes to write one message because I was going via translations, okay?
Yeah, so at first it was like, this is a little exhausting talking to this person. But then we eventually ended up meeting. And should we tell them that we almost didn't meet?
Yeah.
Because as we're texting, this is before it turned into Spanish texting, Rutvij asked like a silly question. I think it was like...
Let's leave it at silly question.
Silly question.
Yeah.
He asked a silly question and I got really upset. So I said, I don't think we should meet. You...
Can you imagine?
I said, I think we're destined for other people. We should just not meet anymore. And then he was like, what? This seems so out of the blue. Can you tell me why? And then we kind of talked it through and I was like, wow, he's very mature. He wasn't like the typical dating app guy that was just like, well, I don't want to meet you either.
Yeah, I mean, honesty is everything. I think you have to be honest about, what you wanted in that stage of life.
Yeah.
So it was good that we cleared that miscommunication and then we met.
Yeah, I think like when online dating, we've all been there and there are so many miscommunications happen and you're really like, what are these person's expectations? So we're all very on guard. So the fact that we were able to like have an honest conversation about like, what did you really mean by that? Because I assumed his intentions weren't good and then he cleared it up and then we were like, wow, this is really mature. Like we're both adults.
Yeah.
We like want to meet each other still and just see where it goes and like let it be water under the bridge.
Exactly. And then we did meet for our first date, which was in a coffee shop. So we went to a coffee shop, we chatted for a bit, and it turned out the coffee shop was closing. So then what did we do? We went to another coffee shop.
Yes. So yeah, it was really cute. And then that one started to close, and then the only thing left that was open that night was a bookstore. So then we went to the bookstore.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just chatting. I remember like us having a lot in common. We definitely were like, oh, we're gonna go surfing together.
Yeah.
We're gonna go salsa dancing together. We're gonna learn languages together. Like we just had all these things that we could like do to hang out.
And family.
And family.
Like for both of us, family is very important. And I knew coming in that I wanted someone who would, be there, not just as an in-law to my family, but as a daughter to my family. And I could sense that she was also coming from that perspective.
I feel like that wasn't first date though. I feel like that was like,
no, but, like we
third
talked
date,
about
fourth
it.
date.
No, I mean, I didn't say, like, maybe you're right, but the perspective that you were a family person.
I think that came in a little bit later.
Okay, everything is hazy now because it was so far.
I have the good memory. I remember everything. Yeah, so then we got home and like I remember we ended the date like water under the bridge. Like we talked about the elephant in the room of our miscommunication. And we're like, yeah, we're able to move on from that.
Yeah.
And I remember getting home and I like felt really good. Like I felt really excited, but I was still like, like we're very friendly.
Does he even like me?
Yeah, I was still a little like unsure from the question, and we had like good friend vibes.
Good friend vibes. I mean, that's good, right?
Yeah. It was like really good energy, but it was like, is there going to be a spark? I didn't know yet.
Like
At least I didn't see a spark.
As Shah Rukh Khan would say, प्यार दोस्ती है, और दोस्ती के बिना प्यार नहीं हो सकता. Thanks, Shahrukh.
No malakala.
And that literally translates to love is friendship, and without friendship there cannot be love.
Love it. Love it.
Shahrukh.
Shout out to Shahrukh. So then we went like not long distance, but then we had a week apart. It was the holidays.
Yeah.
And we both happened to be on the East Coast.
Yes. I was visiting my friends and she was visiting family. And then we were close to each other, maybe an hour away from each other. And then we talked about like maybe we can meet in New York. And then I used to scour the streets of New York looking for you, Nicolette. No,
and I didn't go to New York because I was scared of running into him because it's your first dating someone and like way hyper anxious.
Yeah. But even at that time, like I remember I was jittery every time she texted. I'm like, oh my god, yes, Nicolette texted. So, and my friends caught on to that too. They were like, who are you talking to? So there was that.
And I remember I was talking to him and I was like, to my aunt, I was like, this guy keeps texting me. And she's like, maybe he likes you. I'm like, oh, maybe that's a possibility.
I'm smart. I'm telling you that.
And then I also remember her telling me that like life can change in a second. Like it can just change overnight. And I think, you know, up to that point I was like single for so much of my life and you meet these people online and it doesn't work out. But I just remember that very clearly because it ended up changing my life, which is insane.
True. Yeah, it did change our life.
It did. So then we got back and we had our second date on the books.
Yeah, and what did we do for our second date?
We went on a hike and I think my car broke down at the time. So Rutvij came and picked me up and I just remember I was like looking for him. Like he's like, oh, I'm almost there. And then he like pulls up. He's like driving a little Volkswagen buggy. What is it called? It's like a Volkswagen buggy.
Yeah.
And he just like shouts out the window like, hey! And I don't know, just like the vibes were just there. I just felt so comfortable right away.
That's my guy, hey!
Yeah. I just felt so comfortable right away. He just seemed so like chill and cool.
Yeah, and then we went to our first hike. I remember like the first part of the hike was steep. It was like, oh my god, are we going to be sweaty and not going to be talking to each other because the hike is hard? But then it turned out to be a really nice hike.
Yeah.
And we went up to this nice part of the hike where I asked her something. What did I ask you?
He said, will you marry me?
I wish.
That's what he was
you
thinking.
Wish.
I would have been like, goodbye.
So I asked her to be my date for my office party, which was coming up in a few weeks. So then, like that was my first introduction with her in public to people. To be like, hey, this is my person.
And I think too, once he asked me that, like all the remaining like insecurities of like, does this person really like me? What are his intentions? I was like, okay, he's really serious about dating me. So that kind of cleared that up from there.
Exactly. And yeah, so like the hike was amazing. And then let's jump to the holiday party.
Yeah.
The holiday party was super fun. It was like in this warehouse where we had a lot of music, a lot of food. We were both very dressed up. And our first pictures together that we both love, or like one of the first pictures together was from the holiday party. And it's still framed in our apartment. So
yeah. I remember sending it to all my friends and they were like, oh, he's cute. You guys look so good together. So that was fun. And yeah, I just remember that night, like, I think we really found out that night that we kind of will be like having a conversation and then all of a sudden one of us will say something and the other one was like, I was gonna say that. Like we very much like think very similarly.
Yeah.
And then we were dancing and just having so much fun. We were talking about baby names.
Yeah, we started a list of baby names. Actually, she had a list. I started adding on to hers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. So we were just vibing.
Yeah. Like it solidified us.
Yeah,
that party.
I think we were like exclusive. After that, we were like, let's be exclusive.
Yes.
We were still not ready to be like, I wasn't ready to put the boyfriend girlfriend label.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were then just kind of like hit it off. We were dating.
Yeah.
Went rock climbing together. He cooked for me. I don't think we like we didn't meet any friends or family at this point yet. We were just getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And then the holidays came around, Christmas, and we both
New Year's,
traveled. So all of a sudden we had like a month long distance.
Yeah, I was in India at that time, unmarried, post 30. So you know how it goes. No, I mean, my parents are very progressive in the fact that they didn't like really pressure me into anything, but I was always like, when are you getting married? Why don't you meet XYZ? And I told her that I have this girl back in the US where I think she's the one. I think she's amazing. I really like XYZ about her. And we talked a lot about Nicolette when I was in India. And then I came back. And Nicolette was in Colombia at that time.
Yeah, so I was traveling, I was in South America, I was at home for the holidays with my family, and then I came back and I was working for a couple weeks. We were like FaceTiming, texting, but on totally different hemispheres, you know, so like we would talk at night for a little bit and in the morning for a little bit.
Yeah.
But then the first day he gets back, he takes me out to dinner, and it's just like word vomit. Like everything that he talked about with his family. Oh, if you really like her, why don't you propose to her in a couple months? And
Okay, so my plan was to tell her that I like her. She'd be my girlfriend that night. Proposal in 6 months, wedding in 8. I had kids in maybe a year after that.
Like, I don't know if that was your plan or it was it was all the anxiety you had from coming home and being unsure if like this was the right person.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there like, okay. And I'm you know, very like, I like listen, I don't react. So I'm like taking it all in. I'm just like, okay. But then I think like the next day I was like, we're not gonna get engaged in June, which was like in 3-4 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need more time than that. I'm American. I can't just get engaged after a couple months of dating.
Yeah. But like, that really solidified my understanding of how things would be for us, because she was absolutely right. It was not going to be as fast as sometimes it seems in Indian culture. Like you meet someone, then you get engaged in a few months and then you get married. We wanted some more time, and I think like in hindsight it was the perfect decision. We'll get to the rest of the story as well later, but
yeah. But then I think we all of a sudden became official with the beautiful sentence of, I call my mom your girlfriend, so you're my girlfriend.
Cut. That's where we stop the story.
We'll continue.
So, moral of the story is that she is my girlfriend because my mom called her my girlfriend. Okay? Thank you, Ai.
Solid.